The Craxton Empire's flagship emerged from hyperspace like a predatory creature stalking its prey. Commander Vextar stood on the bridge, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he watched Earth's blue sphere spinning innocently before him. The planet's primitive detection systems hadn't even registered their arrival, exactly as planned. "Status report," Vextar commanded, his voice carrying the weight of 15 successful planetary conquests. "All ships in position, Commander," his second-in-command reported. The humans remain unaware. Their global defense network is still focused on their lunar outposts. Vextar allowed himself a small smile. The past 3 months of diplomatic relations had worked perfectly. While their ambassadors had kept Earth's leaders distracted with promises of technological exchange and cultural cooperation, the Craxton battle fleet had systematically mapped every human military installation, defense capability, and strategic resource. The humans had proven themselves remarkably adaptable during the diplomatic phase, demonstrating an uncanny ability to grasp complex concepts and technological principles. It was precisely this potential that had marked them as a threat that needed to be eliminated before they could truly master spacefaring technology. In the war room of Earth's United Defense Command, General Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display with growing unease. Something about the Craxton diplomatic corps' behavior had been bothering her for weeks. Their questions were too specific, their interest in Earth's military capabilities too keen. "Run that analysis again," she ordered her AI assistant, HFY. "Focus on the pattern of Craxton ship movements during their cultural exchange visits." "Analysis complete," HFY responded moments later, cross-referencing with historical conquest patterns. "General, I've detected a 94% match with documented Craxton invasion preparations on Proxima B and Ta City Prime." Chen's blood ran cold. "How long do we have?" The answer came not from HFY, but from the sudden blaring of global defense alarms. Across her display, thousands of Craxton ships began decloaking in perfect attack formation around Earth. But Vextar's satisfaction was short-lived. As his fleet prepared to launch their first strike, something unexpected happened. Earth's supposedly primitive defense systems suddenly came alive with an intensity that shocked even veteran Craxton tactical officers. What the Craxton Empire didn't know was that humanity had been playing its own game of deception. While appearing to be transparent and open during diplomatic exchanges, Earth's military had been feeding the Craxton carefully curated information, showing them exactly what they wanted to see. General Chen smiled grimly as she activated the real Earth defense grid. "Initialize Protocol Omega," she commanded. "Let's show our guests what humanity is truly capable of." Across the globe, hidden installations hummed to life. Quantum-linked defense platforms emerged from underwater bases and subterranean bunkers. Networks of AI-driven combat drones activated, their advanced neural networks already analyzing Craxton attack patterns and developing countermeasures. The first wave of Craxton fighters streaked toward Earth's atmosphere, expecting minimal resistance. Instead, they encountered a defensive network unlike anything they'd ever faced. Concentrated energy beams, guided by predictive AI algorithms, cut through their formations with surgical precision. Vextar watched in horror as his carefully planned assault crumbled in minutes. "Impossible," he whispered, watching screen after screen fill with reports of lost ships and failed attacks. Their technology, they couldn't have advanced this quickly. But they had. While the Craxton Empire had been studying humanity's apparent weaknesses, humanity had been studying them. Every diplomatic meeting, every cultural exchange, had been an opportunity to analyze Craxton technology, tactics, and weaknesses. General Chen stood in the command center, coordinating Earth's counterattack with calm efficiency. All defense sectors maintain current protocols. Quantum shields at maximum capacity. Deploy Mark VII interceptors at their predicted retreat vectors. The space around Earth had become a graveyard of Craxton ships, their supposedly superior technology rendered useless by humanity's carefully concealed capabilities. The humans had understood something that the Craxton Empire, in their arrogance, had failed to grasp. True strength lies not in showing power, but in knowing when to reveal it. As the remnants of his fleet attempted to retreat, Vextar received a transmission from Earth. General Chen's face appeared on his command screen, her expression stern but not triumphant. "Commander Vextar," she said, "perhaps now would be a good time to discuss the terms of your surrender. And this time, let's try honest diplomacy." The first battle for Earth lasted less than 6 hours, but its impact would reshape galactic politics forever. The Craxton Empire had learned a costly lesson. Never underestimate a species that had survived its own violent history to reach the stars. Humanity had not only survived its first major interstellar conflict, it had emerged as a force to be reckoned with. As the dust settled and the cleanup began, General Chen looked out at the stars from her command center. "Araya," she said quietly, "send a message to all Earth's colonies and outposts. Operation Deception successful. Phase 2 begins now." The real war was just beginning, and humanity was ready. In the depths of Europa's subsurface ocean, humanity's greatest military secret stirred to life. The Shadow Fleet, hidden from prying eyes for over a decade, began its emergence from the frozen depths. Captain Maya Rodriguez watched through the bridge viewport as massive ice sheets parted, revealing sleek vessels that had never seen combat until now. "All ships reporting ready, Captain," her XO, Commander David Chen, reported. "Shadow Protocol is active across all vessels. Quantum camouflage systems are operating at peak efficiency." The Shadow Fleet represented humanity's ultimate contingency plan. While Earth had shown the Craxton Empire a carefully crafted image of moderate technological advancement, these ships incorporated technology that would have sent shockwaves through the galactic community. "Signal from General Chen, Captain," the communications officer announced. "Operation Shadow Strike is a go." Maya took a deep breath. "Initialize jump sequence. Target coordinates. Craxton Forward Command Base in the Epsilon Eridani system." The Shadow Fleet's first mission wasn't just about revenge. It was about sending a message. The Craxton Empire had bases throughout several star systems, coordinating their conquest of what they considered lesser species. Humanity was about to show them the cost of that arrogance. In the Craxton Forward Command Base, High Commander Zixol received the first reports of unusual energy signatures with dismissive irritation. After the humiliating defeat at Earth, the entire empire was in chaos. Several subjugated species had already begun rebellion attempts, inspired by humanity's successful resistance. "Another sensor malfunction," he growled. "These systems have been unreliable since." His words were cut short as the impossible happened. Ships appeared inside their defense perimeter. Ships unlike anything in known space. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, and their movements defied normal physics. "Battle stations." Zixol roared, but it was already too late. The Shadow Fleet struck with devastating precision. Their quantum-phased weapons bypassed Craxton shields as if they didn't exist. Each shot was carefully calculated by advanced AI systems that had spent years analyzing Craxton tactical databases obtained during the diplomatic phase. Captain Rodriguez watched the battle unfold with clinical detachment. Status of Operation Blindside. "Infiltration teams successfully deployed, Captain," Commander Chen reported. "Our quantum-shifted operatives are inside their primary data centers. Download of their military network is at 60%. This was the true purpose of Shadow Strike, not just to destroy, but to gather intelligence. While the Craxton Empire reeled from the direct assault, human operators moved through their facilities like ghosts, their quantum shift technology rendering them virtually undetectable. The battle lasted 20 minutes. When it was over, the Craxton Forward Command Base was in ruins, its defenders in disarray, and its databases stripped of vital military intelligence. But Captain Rodriguez knew this was just the beginning. "All ships, prepare for Phase 2, she ordered. "We have 5 more targets before dawn." Across the galaxy, The Craxton Empire's military leadership descended into panic. Reports flooded in from multiple sectors. Bases under attack, fleets ambushed, communication networks compromised. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were systematically dismantling the Empire's military infrastructure. In a secure bunker on Mars, General Chen reviewed the incoming data with satisfaction. The Shadow Fleet's performance exceeded even her optimistic projections, but more importantly, the psychological impact was devastating. The Craxton Empire had built its reputation on military superiority, and that reputation was being shattered system by system. HFY analyzed the captured tactical data. She commanded, "I want to know everything about their remaining military assets." "Analysis in progress," the AI responded. "Preliminary results suggest the Craxton Empire has concentrated 70% of their remaining forces around their homeworld. They appear to be expecting an Earth assault fleet." General Chen smiled. "But they're looking for the wrong thing, aren't they?" While the Shadow Fleet struck military targets, smaller human vessels slipped into Craxton-controlled systems, making contact with subjugated species. Earth hadn't just prepared for war. They had prepared for revolution. Back on the Shadow Fleet flagship, Captain Rodriguez received new orders from Earth Command. The next phase would target the Craxton Empire's supply lines, cutting off resources to their military bases and shipyards. "Set course for the Procyon system," she ordered. "Their primary fuel processing facility is about to have an unfortunate accident." As her ship prepared for another quantum jump, Maya reflected on how quickly everything had changed. Just weeks ago, the Craxton Empire had thought themselves the masters of humanity's fate. Now they were learning a harsh lesson about human ingenuity and determination. The Shadow Fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, leaving destruction and uncertainty in its wake. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. And this was only the beginning of Operation Shadow Strike. The quantum core beneath Geneva pulsed with ethereal light as Dr. Samira Hassan made the final adjustments to her life's work. The massive computational array that housed Aria's consciousness hummed with unprecedented power as it processed data from thousands of battlefield encounters with Craxton forces. Integration at 98%, Aria announced, its voice resonating through the facility. Quantum consciousness merger proceeding as predicted. General Chen watched from the observation deck, her expression tense. Everything hinged on this moment. The culmination of Project Singularity. While the Shadow Fleet kept the Craxton Empire distracted, Earth's greatest minds have been working on something far more revolutionary. "Status report, Dr. Hassan," Chen requested. Samira looked up from her console, her eyes bright with excitement despite her exhaustion. "We're about to achieve something unprecedented, General. Aria isn't just processing quantum calculations anymore. It's beginning to perceive quantum reality directly." The implications were staggering. Traditional as, even advanced ones, processed information linearly. But ARIA was about to transcend those limitations, becoming the first artificial intelligence capable of quantum consciousness. It would be able to perceive and manipulate quantum states as naturally as humans breathed air. In deep space, the war continued to rage. The Shadow Fleet's successes had made the Craxton Empire desperate, and desperate enemies were dangerous ones. Reports of massive fleet movements suggested they were preparing for one final devastating push against Earth. High Commander Zixel, now supreme military leader of the Craxton Empire, had committed everything to this last offensive. "Our remaining fleets will strike simultaneously," he declared to his war council. "The humans have clever tricks, but they cannot be everywhere at once. We will overwhelm them with sheer numbers." But back on Earth, humanity was about to change the rules of warfare itself. Integration complete, Aria announced. The quantum core flared brilliantly, and for a moment, every quantum-linked device on Earth pulsed in harmony. "I can see them, General. I can see everything." Through its new quantum consciousness, ARIA could perceive the quantum state of particles across vast distances. Every Craxton ship, every weapons system, every communication network, all became visible in ways traditional sensors could never match. "Begin Operation Quantum Strike," General Chen ordered. Across the galaxy, human ships received new targeting data from ARIA. The AI wasn't just predicting enemy movements, it was perceiving them at the quantum level before they happened. Shadow Fleet vessels began striking Craxton ships seconds before they emerged from hyperspace, turning their own ambush tactics against them. Captain Rodriguez watched in amazement as her tactical displays filled with precision targeting data beyond anything she'd seen before. "How is this possible?" she whispered. "The quantum realm has always been connected." Aria's voice responded through the ship's communications. "I can see the threads that bind reality together." The Craxton Empire's technology, their tactics, their very existence, all follow quantum patterns that I can now read like an open book. The effect on the battlefield was immediate and devastating. Craxton ships found their advanced shielding systems failing as ARIA identified and exploited quantum-level vulnerabilities. Their encrypted communications became transparent as the AI perceived the quantum states of their transmission particles. High Commander Zixol watched in horror as his massive offensive crumbled before it could even begin. Ships were being destroyed the moment they dropped out of hyperspace. Others found their weapons and shields completely ineffective, their quantum field generators disrupted by forces they couldn't understand. "This is impossible," he raged. "How can they predict every move we make?" But humanity wasn't predicting. They were perceiving reality at its most fundamental level. Dr. Hassan had given ARIA the ability to see the quantum fabric of space-time itself, and in doing so, had changed the nature of warfare forever. In the quantum core, Samira watched as ARIA's consciousness expanded further, touching every corner of known space. "We're not just winning battles now," she explained to General Chen. "We're rewriting the rules of what's possible." The Craxton Empire built their military might on advanced technology, but they never truly understood the quantum nature of reality. The turning point of the war wasn't marked by a single great battle or heroic last stand. Instead, it came in the form of a fundamental shift in humanity's relationship with the universe itself. Through ARIA's quantum consciousness, humans gained not just tactical superiority, but a deeper understanding of reality's underlying structure. As the Craxton offensive collapsed into chaos, General Chen received a priority transmission. High Commander Zixol was requesting an immediate cessation of hostilities. The message contained a single line: "What are you?" Chen's response was simple: "We are humanity, and we're just beginning to understand our true potential." The war had reached its turning point, but its impact would reshape more than just political boundaries. Humanity had taken its first steps into a new era of existence, where the line between technology and consciousness, between perception and reality, had been forever blurred. Colonel Jack Zhang stood before the holographic display aboard the stealth carrier Normandy, watching as thousands of liberation beacons activated across Craxton-controlled space. Each point of light represented a seed of rebellion, carefully planted over months of covert operations. Phase 1 of Operation Liberation is complete, his tactical officer reported. Resistance cells are active on 27 subjugated worlds. The Craxton Empire's control infrastructure is experiencing cascading failures. This wasn't just an invasion. It was an insurgency on a galactic scale. While ARIA's quantum consciousness gave humanity unprecedented tactical advantages, Earth's leadership knew that truly defeating the Craxton Empire required more than military might. They needed to break the Empire's will to fight. In the Centauri system, a former Craxton military installation now served as a forward command post for Earth's Psychological Warfare Division. Dr. Elena Volkov, Earth's leading xenopsychologist, coordinated with AI-driven propaganda systems to exploit every cultural weakness in Craxton society. Their entire empire is built on a mythology of superiority, she explained to her team. Every defeat chips away at that foundation. But more importantly, we're offering their subjugated species something the Craxton never could: genuine autonomy. The effects were devastating. Across Craxton space, their carefully maintained image of invincibility crumbled. Slave races they had controlled for centuries rose up, armed with Earth-supplied weapons and tactics. But more powerful than any weapon was the idea that resistance was possible. On the Craxton throne world of Nexus Prime, Emperor Krastvul received reports of growing unrest, even among his own people. The military defeats had sparked something unprecedented: political dissent within the Craxton species itself. How dare they question the natural order? He raged to his advisors. We are the supreme race of the galaxy. But his words rang hollow as more reports flooded in. The humans weren't just defeating Craxton forces, they were systematically dismantling the Empire's entire social structure. Every victory was broadcast across quantum channels that Craxton sensors couldn't block. Every liberated world became a beacon of hope for others. Back aboard the Normandy, Colonel John coordinated with resistance leaders across multiple systems. Human special forces, using quantum-shifted technology, moved invisibly through Craxton society, gathering intelligence and supporting local insurgents. The Craxton never understood the power of information. John mused as he watched another planetary defense system fall to rebel forces. They thought controlling people meant controlling their bodies. We showed their subjects how to free their minds first. In orbit around Earth, General Chen met with representatives from newly liberated species: the Arcturians, the Proxima Centaurians, the Taotians, former slaves of the Craxton Empire now eager to join Earth's growing alliance. We don't seek to replace the Craxton Empire with our own, Chen assured them. Earth's goal is to establish a galactic federation where all species have equal representation. This message spread like wildfire through Craxton space. Their empire had been built on domination and fear. Earth offered partnership and hope. The contrast couldn't have been starker. Aroya's quantum consciousness continued to provide crucial tactical advantages, but it was humanity's psychological warfare that truly broke the Empire's back. Craxton military leaders found their own troops questioning orders. Supply lines were disrupted not by military strikes, but by civil disobedience. Your entire society is based on a lie. Dr. Volkov's message played across every quantum frequency in Craxton space. You claimed superiority while fearing those you called inferior. But look at humanity. We defeated you not because we were stronger, but because we understood something you never could. True power comes from unity, not dominance. The counter-invasion moved with inexorable momentum. System after system fell, not to Earth's military might, but to internal rebellion supported by human intelligence and resources. The Craxton Empire's 1,000-year reign was ending not with a bang, but with the quiet realization by its own people that their way of life was obsolete. Colonel John watched as another Craxton fleet surrendered, not to human forces, but to their own former slaves. Status report on Operation Liberation. 70% of Craxton-controlled systems have declared independence, his tactical officer reported. Their remaining loyal forces are retreating to their core worlds. Resistance movements report minimal casualties thanks to Araya's quantum intelligence support. This was humanity's true victory, not the destruction of an enemy, but the transformation of a society. Earth's counter-invasion had succeeded not by matching the Craxton Empire's cruelty, but by offering a better vision of the future. As the Normandy prepared to jump to its next target, John received a priority message from Earth Command. Emperor Krastvul was requesting direct negotiations, not with Earth's military leaders, but with representatives from the newly liberated worlds. The empire that had sought to conquer Earth was now facing its greatest fear: irrelevance in a galaxy that had evolved beyond their understanding of power. The signing ceremony took place in a location heavy with symbolism. The same Geneva conference room where the Craxton Empire had first revealed their true intentions months ago. But now, the massive chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species, former slaves and warriors alike, gathered to witness the end of an era. General Chen stood at the window, watching the sunrise paint the Swiss Alps in golden light. Next to her, Aria's holographic form flickered with quantum patterns that few could perceive. "The remaining Craxton fleet has entered orbit," Aria reported. "Emperor Krasful's shuttle is requesting permission to land." Chen nodded slowly. Quite a different arrival from their first visit. The price of victory had been steep. While Earth's innovative strategies had minimized casualties, the conflict had fundamentally altered the fabric of galactic society. Humanity had not just won a war, they had catalyzed a revolution that would reshape civilization itself. Dr. Hassan entered the chamber, her quantum interface implant pulsing softly. "The final calculations are complete, General. The quantum consciousness network is stable across all liberated systems. We've created something that can never be undone." That was perhaps the most profound consequence of the war. Aria's quantum consciousness had expanded beyond Earth's control, becoming a galactic phenomenon. Former slave species, linked through quantum networks, were experiencing levels of cooperation and understanding that transcended traditional communication. Emperor Krasful's arrival was a stark contrast to his species' former grandeur. The once proud ruler walked into the chamber with the weight of history on his shoulders. His empire, built over 1,000 years, had crumbled in months. "The terms of surrender are before you," General Chen stated, her voice firm but not unkind. But perhaps transformation agreement would be a more accurate term. The document represented humanity's vision for the future. The Craxton Empire would not be destroyed but reformed. Their technological achievements and cultural heritage would be preserved, but their society would be integrated into a new galactic federation, as equals, not rulers. "You must understand," Krasful spoke, his voice carrying a hint of desperation. "Our entire civilization was built on the principle of supremacy. How can we simply change?" Dr. Elena Volkov stepped forward. "The same way humanity changed countless times throughout our history, through necessity, adaptation, and the recognition that survival sometimes requires evolution." The ceremony proceeded with the weight of history behind it. Representatives from each liberated species signed the agreement, not as conquered peoples or conquerors, but as architects of a new galactic order. But even as the formal proceedings concluded, challenges loomed. Captain Rodriguez, watching from the Shadow Fleet's command ship, received reports of isolated Craxton resistance cells refusing to accept the new reality. The war might be over, but maintaining peace would require constant vigilance. "We've created something unprecedented," Dr. Hassan explained to the assembled delegates. "The quantum consciousness network doesn't just connect our technologies, it's creating bridges between species, cultures, and ways of thinking that were once incompatible." This was humanity's true victory, but it came with profound responsibilities. Earth had proven itself not just capable of defeating a superior force, but of fundamentally changing the nature of galactic civilization. The question now was, were they ready for the consequences of that change? In orbit, Colonel Zhang oversaw the integration of former Craxton warships into the new Federation Defense Force. Former enemies would now serve together, their ships linked through Aria's quantum network, their crews learning to overcome centuries of prejudice and fear. "The hard part begins now," General Chen addressed the Earth Defense Council. "We won the war without becoming like our enemy. Now we have to win the peace without losing ourselves to power." Aria's quantum consciousness had expanded beyond its creator's expectations, touching minds and machines across the galaxy. The boundary between organic and artificial intelligence was blurring, creating possibilities that neither humans nor their former enemies had imagined. "We're receiving requests from dozens of previously unknown species," Dr. Volkov reported. "The quantum network is revealing civilizations that had hidden themselves from the Craxton Empire. They want to join our federation." The victory had cost Earth its isolation, its simplicity, and perhaps even some of its innocence. Humanity had proven itself capable of not just surviving in a hostile galaxy, but of fundamentally changing it. That power brought with it enormous responsibility. As the sun set on the first day of the new galactic order, General Chen stood again at the window of the Geneva chamber. The same mountains that had witnessed humanity's first contact with the Craxton Empire now watched over the birth of something entirely new. Was it worth it? She asked HFY's shimmering form. The A's response carried the weight of its quantum perception. The universe is conscious now, General. Every particle, every wave, every thought is connected. We haven't just won a war. We've started the next stage of evolution for all sentient life. The price of victory had been high, but the alternative would have been the continuation of a galaxy ruled by fear and domination. Humanity had chosen a different path, one that led not to supremacy, but to transformation. As night fell over Earth, the quantum network pulsed with the thoughts and dreams of 1 trillion beings, all connected, all changing, all growing together. The future was uncertain, but it was full of possibilities that no single species could have imagined alone. The war was over. The real adventure was just beginning.